So no matter where you are in your life, I'm sure at some point you've thought about whether or not you would like to start a family, maybe somewhere down the line in 10 years or maybe just in a mere 9 months. Now, what would your reaction be if your whole life you had planned on having children only to find out that you or your partner is infertile? Unfortunately, it's a devastating reality that occurs for thousands of women and couples alike across the globe. However, with the advancement of modern medicine as well as the education on third-party reproduction, there are now multiple ways to fulfill the dream of having a family, even in these situations. So as a woman myself, I'm sure it's not surprising that I've thought about starting a family much later in life, hopefully. However, there was always a chance that something might not work out as planned, which is why I feel like it's important to educate both men and women about the solutions offered to those who are unable to conceive naturally. So today I'm here to educate you on the reasons for female egg donation and why it should be destigmatized in today's society. So first we will consider the impact of infertility on women and couples alike. Second, we will discuss how the stigma surrounding egg donation affects not only the donors as well as the receivers. And finally, we will examine how further education of the public can lead to a more accepting future. So first, we will discuss the impacts of infertility in today's world. So in today's society, getting an education, finding a partner, and starting a family is thought of as the perfect life for many people. However, this dream for many couples is crushed when they come to realize that one of the two might be infertile and will ruin their chances of ever having a typical family. So from Healthy Moms Magazine, an article titled Demystifying the Stigma Surrounding Donor Eggs, written by a guest author in July 2016, outlines these feelings perfectly. Unless you have gone through infertility, you just can't possibly understand the heartache it causes. We have to watch over and over and over women have children who don't appreciate the gift, or who abuse their child, abandon them, and so much worse. So we cry and wonder, why me, why us? It's awful. There's nothing wrong with a person or couple wanting a biological piece of them to exist in this world. So as we can see through this quote, we start to get an insight into the thoughts and feelings felt by those who are unable to conceive naturally, and we can begin to see why egg donation is such an attractive option for many couples. So while infertility is the main reason that couples do turn to egg donation, another reason is due to the possibility of passing on unwanted genetic disorders to their offspring. So couples are faced with the unavoidable fact that they might pass on these unwanted genetic disorders. The option of using a clean egg from a donor is a very attractive option. So in Antonio Regalata's article written in April 2016 for MIT Technology Review, he brings up the idea that many people perceive the donation process as designer babies, or a step in the direction of eugenics. However, he puts that idea to rest when he notes that 1, this has always been true of sperm donation, and 2, the cost of entry, so to speak, for parents is too high for this to have a significant impact on population dynamics. So even if every couple goes into the process looking for a baby that has similar physical attributes to themselves, this would be the same case had they chosen to conceive naturally. So now let's look at some of the stigmas surrounding the idea of egg donation. Understanding that egg donation may not be a conventional path, many donors are attacked with questions and comments such as, that's weird, or how can you just give away your children, or how can you donate your eggs when there are thousands of children around the world waiting to be adopted? And while many of these questions and comments do come from a place of maybe just pure ignorance or curiosity, donors often can interpret them as judgmental or shaming. So from The Atlantic's compilation of reader stories, edited by Chris Bodiner in January 2017, one comment states, "It's not fair for people who have never struggled with infertility to imply or demand that those of us who suffer from infertility settle with adoption as if it's an easy solution. We just want the same chance fertile people have, a chance they didn't have to fight for or pay for or suffer from." So in reality, egg donors think very seriously about the implications and consequences of donating their eggs. It's not an easy ethical or moral decision for many donors, and the weighing of the risk and reward is mulled over many times before making a final decision. So utilizing an unconventional way of conception many times results in backlash from friends and family on the egg donor receivers, and many times labels are placed on them, including being less than a mother. So in her article for the New York Times titled, "Is That My Baby?", Anne Klein describes a totem pole of acceptable fertility methods, beginning with just plain sex at the top, then IVF treatments, and lastly third-party reproduction all the way at the bottom. So Klein mentions that when she told her friend Sharon that she had finally become pregnant after years of her and her husband trying conventional treatments as well as IVF treatments, Sharon's reaction of, "Oh, donor eggs, okay," was nothing less than a typical reaction. Klein states, "To Sharon and many others, I'd failed. I'd failed to achieve the holy grail of fertility treatment, having a child with my own and my husband's DNA." So many people view third-party contraception as unnatural and don't consider to be the future children a product of the parents. However, the eggs are just cells filled with genetic material, and the people who raise the child will be the child's parents. And while the baby may not have been conceived through just plain sex, epigenetics teaches us that in utero, donor moms shape everything from the child's health to his or her temperament, and they go through the same pregnancy process as well as birth process that conventional mothers do. So ultimately, egg donors as well as receivers do not need permission from others to make decisions about their own bodies. Now that we have discussed some of the stigma surrounding egg donation, let's move on to how we as an audience can help eradicate them. So in the case of third-party reproduction, sperm donation, surrogacy, and adoption have become increasingly more mainstream, with comedies such as Delivery Man and Baby Mama increasing the public's awareness and acceptance of these once foreign topics. Even looking no further than Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt's two adopted children, adoption is no longer being shrouded in secrecy, and parents who do adopt children are seen as saintly or that they're saving unwanted children. However, there are no Hollywood comedies nor People magazine stories surrounding the secret lives of women who donate their eggs. And according to the Society of Assisted Reproductive Technologies National Clinical Summary Report, in 2017, slightly more than 15% of the 63,000 babies born through IVF were from donor eggs. So these numbers are not small, and egg donation is not something that should be completely ignored by the media, as they can lead to false misconceptions and stereotypes, as we have previously discussed. So one of the best ways we as a society can overcome the stigma surrounding egg donation is not only educating the public on the actuality of donor eggs, but also providing support for those going through the process. So in Lauren H's blog post on weareeggdonors.com, she states, "As a result of invisibility and stigma surrounding egg donation, many donors struggle to find ways to talk about experiences with people who are supportive and understanding. So the difficulty of dealing with infertility or non-conventional conception is only magnified when women who already might feel alone and confused are only approached with negative comments and suggestions from people who believe that they know best for someone else's body and happiness. And even if you are still on the ethical fence about whether or not egg donation is something that should be utilized, providing support and empathy to those who are going through this difficult process is something that will do nothing but benefit everyone involved." So we have discussed the impact of infertility, the stigma surrounding egg donation, as well as some of the ways we as an audience can be more accepting regarding this topic. So while I'm not going to tell every single one of you women out there to go and donate your eggs, I do suggest it's something you look into if you would like to provide a family with a way to conceive. And I do ask every single man and woman out there to, at the very least, just be more supportive and acceptive of those choosing this route.